So this is a 2018 Piper Seminole. It is a twin-engine aircraft, primarily used for multi-engine and instrument rating training. And this is the type of aircraft that I'll be doing my training over in the next 4 weeks. Piper Seminole is equipped with a Garmin 1000 avionics system. This displays all sorts of information for pilots during flight, and I'll go in more detail about this system in a later AVCAM video. So the first thing we do when we arrive at the aircraft is we're going to jump inside into the cockpit. We're going to turn our battery on and all our external lights, so we can go test that and make sure that they're all working. So the next step in our pre-flight is going up to our fuel tank and making sure that we have enough fuel. So we use a dipstick to see how much fuel we have and to ensure that we have enough fuel for our flight, including any reserves that we need to hold. So once we have enough fuel for our flight, the next thing we need to do is test that our fuel is safe to use for our flight. So we use this container called a fuel drain, so we can empty some fuel out of our fuel tanks and to ensure that it is safe for us to use. So this looks good. It doesn't have any water or any contaminants in there, so it's safe for us to use. The next step in our pre-flight is checking that the aircraft has enough oil for the flight. So we open up the engine here, we open up the dipstick, have a look to see how much oil we do have. So here we've got about 7 quarts of oil, and that's enough for this type of aircraft. So the next step in our pre-flight is checking that every other part of the aircraft is working exactly how it should be. So the first thing is we'll have a look at our flaps, so make sure they don't move as much, and checking our connections. And these help us slow down in flight. Next we have our ailerons, which help us turn or roll the aircraft. We just make sure that these move freely, and we also check the connection in here is secure. So looking around, just checking the overall wing for any damage, any ice that may have built up. This wing looks okay. We come to our engine, have a look at the overall condition itself, look at the propeller, make sure there's no damage on it, make sure it doesn't move around. Come into the engine, have a quick look in here, checking both sides of the propeller, making sure they look good, no damage. Next step is getting underneath the aircraft and having a look at its landing gear, assembly, the wheel itself, making sure there's no damage on it, making sure that we have enough brakes on our brake pads, and making sure that all part of landing gear is secure. Our landing gear door, that's secure as well, and that the well where the landing gear goes is also clear. So, and we're checking that our SWAT switch, which prevents our gear from being retracted on the ground, or has a gap just there. Now we repeat the process on the other side of the aircraft. So we check its landing gear, check the engine, make sure that the wing has no damage, checking our controls, our ailerons and our flaps again. And once this is done, we can move towards the back of the aircraft. So the back of the aircraft here, we're checking that our antenna is secure onto the aircraft here. Looking at our tail, making sure that's secure, making sure there's no damage on there. Have a look at our rudder, which helps steer the aircraft. Make sure this is connected here, all the connections are secure, no damage there. Then we look at our horizontal stabilizer, which helps pitch our aircraft, help us climb and descend, making sure that there's no damage on them as well, make sure all connections are secure, just there.